Are there ghosts all around us? That's what Tesla's tracker technology has me thinking. Posted to TikTok by Piero1519. This Tesla owner entered a cemetery where his vehicle's technology detected life or non-life nearby. A figure can be seen appearing digitally on the car's screen, clearly ahead into the far right of the car.
And look at this. And nobody's there. The cemetery. Wow. Wow.
So it shows it like a
Flashing his camera to the location indicated, Piero shows that there's no one there at all. All that's there are a couple of gravestones and an otherwise empty graveyard. Some in the comments are saying that the Tesla assumes the tombstone is a person, since it doesn't have a tombstone detection feature. But wouldn't the Tesla then detect people in anything human-shaped that its technology hasn't been taught to identify? That would just be weird. TikToker Namaste says, ghost detection is an added feature of Tesla, but Leah Jordan takes a turn writing, it's all fun and games till it gets in the car with you. Let's hope that ghostly terror remained in its eternal bed. The unliving appears in this live stream. Posted to TikTok by LuckmanNJ. A pair of guys are speaking to the camera when behind them something mysterious photobombs their live stream. The robed figure over the young man's shoulder sports a dark face and a head covering. The boy moves in front of it for a moment, blocking the mysterious being from view. He then moves forward again and the figure has vanished. What is this thing? It almost looks like a statue of the Virgin Mary. But then again, where did it disappear to? I guess we're left with more questions than answers for this video. Mythical creatures are said to rule these forests. Did this cameraman catch one of them? Or did he almost get caught? Published by SEOOSST in June of 2021. The footage shows the cameraman making his way through some brambles and overgrowth in the woods. As the camera pulls up alongside a large pile of them, a mysterious dogman-like face appears over top of the pile. The hairy brown face doesn't look human, nor does it look quite animal. Its eyes glow as it moves jarringly out of view when the camera lands on it, making a gruff growling noise. Some in the comments are calling this mysterious beast a cryptid. What do you think it is? I just know I'll be staying out of that forest. This video is said to have taken place in Indianapolis and was dashcam footage from a woman's car. Apparently 5 masked individuals surrounded the vehicle and took whatever they wanted from the car with the driver still inside. The creepiest part of this video that has been freaking people out since it was uploaded is the driver's panicked screams that are caught on the dash cam during the ordeal.
Where did you get them? Come here. What are you doing?
He walks nefariously by the front of the vehicle. Even scarier, this whole event happened in broad daylight in a parking lot. It's enough to make me think twice next time I'm out and about. The Paranormal Voyages team is staying overnight at America's scariest motel. Will they get any sleep? Let's find out. Outside, they come across children's graves.
Is that you out there making noise?
When they ask the spirits if they're there, the response is chilling.
Mm-hmm.
That was a kid. That was a kid.
And the follow-up is even creepier.
There's a witch.
Huh?
It said there's a witch.
My light battery is dying quick.
Yours?
Fully charged. Okay.
But just when you think it can't get worse,
Can the kid come forward and talk to us? Tell us your name. Don't be shy.
Where is the kid? You said that was a kid that I heard.
a little later, Celia feels something.
Touch me?
What?
What are you touching my hair for?
Touch your hair?
Yes.
No,
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you touched the top of my head.
I haven't shown better. Haven't shown better.
You touched my head.
Back in their room, the haunting follows.
To see if you catch it sometimes.
Sounds like they're pacing, kinda. It sounds like it hasn't happened to us before. We've even slept in the room on the second floor, and we've heard walking on the roof.
When they finally get some sleep, a series of strange events happen. The water turning on and the bedsheet lifting has me convinced that this place is truly haunted. What do you think? Would you stay here? So first, a little backstory. A deleted Reddit account posted a photo of a broadcast interruption they experienced on July 24th, 2022, asking if anyone else had experienced the same thing. On screen, there's a photo of a boy who is apparently missing, and there's a number to call if you have information as to his whereabouts. Well, submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Skeletor, this Redditor tried calling the number on screen. It was apparently a Republic of Ireland phone number. Let's watch their submission and see what happens.
To re-record your message, press hash at any time.
In the comments, Disastrous Street 3101 wrote, "Seriously weird. If you keep pausing it, you could jot the message down. I really hope the boy isn't in any danger." While Golf Whiskey 21 thinks it's the phonetic alphabet, Redditor Ultravillain even tried to solve the code, and it appears it may be a website, as it ends in .com. This is nothing short of bizarre, and I'll be staying away from this phone number and any websites it tries to take me to.
To re-record your message, press hash at any time.
Luxi is investigating a purportedly haunted cemetery. As they approach the area, they find a lifeless animal near a tree.
Todo lo que hay gualichos. Acá pueden ver, pueden corroborar que hay un animal, miren, un animal muerto también, de los gualichos que se hacen acá en esta zona. ¿Lo puedes levantar, por favor? Sí. Ve, este animal.
He captures some of the tombs on video.
Puede ver uno de los, allá atrás se puede apreciar, no sé si alcanza la toma de mi celular, porque mi celular es un celular muy bajo en resolución, pero bueno, vamos a caminar a ver si podemos ver algo.
And then he and his entire extended family continue walking until they see what they came for.
Mirá, 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 mirá. No, esto de no creer, esto de no creer, vamos. Corran. La verdad que no me lo podía esperar.
Did you see that figure? The figure in white appears very small and moves slowly through the tall grass. After putting some distance between them and the mysterious creature, the cameraman turns around to capture one last glimpse.
Ahí se ve. La verdad que se mueve, está en movimiento. La verdad que Jesús de Nazaret. No, vamos, corran. Agárrale.
Is it a witch? A ghost? The YouTuber believes it's an elf. I'm wondering if he might be on the right track, but in that case, why not stick around to see if it's good or evil? GeoMeo9 is a YouTuber who claims to have bought an old photo that comes with a worrisome curse. He doubted the legend at first, but soon found it to be true with his own eyes. I could be wrong, but this kind of looks like the hologram photos you can buy at certain gift stores. But then again, GeoMio9 uploaded this video in 2006 and I'm not even sure they were made back then. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments section. A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. This mysterious CCTV video, taken from a warehouse belonging to a company called Party Packs, shows a stalker having all of his hard work undone in a matter of seconds, when some items randomly fly off the shelf, which then begins to shake on its own. Nearby boxes almost fly into his face when he bends down to retrieve the fallen items. It could just be a string, but I definitely see some kind of tall figure standing just beyond the boxes just after it happens. Something is definitely moving its head here at the 36-second mark. After the stalker runs away, we get to see down the other side of the aisle from a different camera. That's when a transparent person briefly appears wearing a long robe that touches the floor, perhaps the same figure that appeared behind the boxes before. The camera malfunctions, and when it comes back, we see them again in the static, much closer this time, studying the camera curiously before it breaks entirely. The company would stop uploading for 7 years shortly after this video was made, so perhaps they really were scared out of business and recently reacquired. A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures 2 possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and 2 eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur, but motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is, whatever this is, in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. Some fast food places have hidden items on the menu that have to be special ordered, but I don't think that's what's going on during this horrifying moment caught on tape. Buried at the very bottom is what appears at first to merely be a piece of grated cheese, but is far worse than that. A disgusting yellow larva, soon to be a fly, wiggles hello at the camera.
It's moving, man.
He could always get his money back, but that's not the point. I don't see the taco anywhere in this video, so I assume that means it's been eaten already. Bugs and all. A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed just to see what's next. Soon the brick walls give way to smooth gray stone that more closely resembles the likes of a cave. When they see these highly detailed faces carved into the wall, they know they are on the right track. It's definitely a creepy sight for sure, but walls are still covered with tons of graffiti, which means that 1 million people have been here before. They aren't crossing new territory, at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. This creepy video is 2 seconds long. and one of the scariest creature sightings ever caught on camera. It's not the way it looks so much as the way it approaches, almost like it's glad to see you. That makes it all the more terrifying. If there's a longer version, I'm not sure I'm ready to see it. If there was anyone behind the camera, it might not end well. I hope this is a video of a normal dog with special effects or something. What do you think? A family is being frightened by a ghostly apparition somewhere in Mexico, and this is the moment they finally see it.
Se abrió. Espérate, cálmate. ¿Hay alguien ahí?
The side of someone's face peers out from within the closet, but when they go to check where it just was, it's gone.
¿Algo? Dinos, se asomó alguien. Alúzame. Espera. Espérate, alúzame.
There definitely was something in there, because you can see its face push up against a shirt. However, at 36 seconds, there may be an editing cut when the camera is covered. This could be where they stop recording, let him out the closet, and start recording again. Security cameras in this home didn't spy any intruders while this family was on vacation, at least not of the mortal kind. Published by Grasshopper 222 in July of 2011, the living room camera captured what looks like a cat toy moving across the floor. The only problem? There's no cat in sight. Moments later, a strange noise resounds in the room, and several objects fall to the floor. The bathroom's camera captured further paranormal activity. 2 toothbrushes fling from the counter, not falling but as if propelled by an unseen force. The faucet turns on full blast sometime later, while something flings into the sink. This is followed by the toilet flushing, and what sounds like the lid slamming shut. In the garage, although it's dark, you can hear noises. The YouTuber says it's a drill, and the doors on his father's car door. You can see the car's interior lights turn on when the doors open. In the kitchen, activity occurs over several days. Watch closely. Days later, this happens. While some in the comments are perplexed by this blatant activity, others are spotting things you may not have seen, like this shadow. Do you too think this house is in need of a priest? Connor is an urban explorer from the UK who has been making urbex videos for over 3 years and has had his share of eerie encounters. The Explorer Returns is the name of his channel, and on it are 2 places in particular that I bet he wished he never stepped foot in. One of them is the Merrick Park Nursing Home. Shut down in 2014, the nursing home became the center of controversy after 2 residents lost their lives due to neglect. An investigation revealed the elderly were being fed medication that was out of date and didn't work. They were also helplessly exposed in cold water baths for prolonged periods of time, and other mistreatments that no one should have to endure. It's pitch black outside when Connor and his friend Daniel find the place, and the inside is just as dark. His flashlight combs across room after room filled with flowers sent by family members who had no idea what miserable conditions their loved ones were being kept in. The doors still have names on them, and the residents seem to respond to having their name read aloud. Connor enters one room, and a feeling of intense unease makes him let out an involuntary moan. A woman's laughter comes from the corner of the room by a pile of her former possessions that are no doubt teeming with energy from her passing. Like I said before, it's only Connor and Daniel, so they shouldn't be hearing any other voices, let alone a laugh like this one. At any rate, the spirits seem relatively friendly until they make a mistake at 2 minutes and 19 seconds by wiping some leaves off of these two names with their shoe. They meant no disrespect by the gesture, just the opposite actually, but stepping on the names of those who have passed in their own home is bound not to go over well. After all, these spirits have already experienced enough mistreatment when they were still alive. Connor steps at the doorway of a laundry room lined with someone's clothes. He doesn't notice the arm of the shirt sleeve move on its own. It's probably just a draft from the open window now that I look closer at it, but that still doesn't explain the angry eyes peering at him from within. They somehow miss this and instead focus on something upstairs. The power is off, and yet a strange chime takes them up a floor. The tension grows as they track it from room to room until the source is only a few feet away.
In here, it's in here. Yes, in here.
They find a motion sensor that stays on for as long as the door remains open. However, it wasn't going off until recently, so that means the door must have just opened when no one was on that floor. It's weird, but they're more relieved it's not an alarm, so they press on to the 3rd floor. Holes in the roof have left some rooms filled with leaves and open to the elements. They don't find much up here, and when they are ready to leave, their suspicions about opening doors are confirmed.
Nothing, just empty. Just rooms. I told you.
The door that they had clearly left open at 12 minutes and 50 seconds is now mysteriously closed. Either it has shut on its own, which is certainly possible because it's pretty thin and lightweight, or else something closed it besides them. As they are leaving the Merrick Park nursing home, the camera picks up a final occurrence. Listen. The craziest of all though has to be when Connor explores an abandoned asylum at 1 in the morning. Through the woods and under a gate lies the hapless estate where many were held their entire lives. It takes Connor 8 minutes just to find an unboarded window, and by then he is almost too fearful to venture inside. Aside from the paranormal, this looks to be a possible hangout for tough locals as well. The inside is completely and unnaturally silent. The house doesn't creak, crack, or settle at all. Connor keeps hearing things that don't register up on camera, and he suspects that something is in the large room with him. He sets up a K2 meter to detect electromagnetic energy but finds none. He talks out loud to a spirit who apparently isn't there, then gets moving again. Or maybe the spirit was listening close by all along.
Let's go upstairs.
When he goes into the next room, he catches on camera a fleeting glimpse of a tall shadow at 12 minutes and 15 seconds. He doesn't see the shadow man in real life, but his equipment certainly does. It's not graffiti either, if that's what you were thinking, because when he comes back downstairs and turns at 17 minutes 4 seconds, the wall it was standing against is clean. It's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the room where Connor left his K2 meter suddenly experiences odd activity as a mysterious white light slowly grows into a beam for a full minute, from 15 minutes and 15 seconds to 16 minutes and 15 seconds, and then fades away. He goes back to the K2 meter and runs some more experiments. None of his questions get any answers, and it doesn't seem interested in communicating with him at all, or at least not as much as it wants to from a distance. He sets up the K2 meter in another room and decides if this doesn't work, then he will end the investigation. He doesn't know that he has already caught both a shadow figure and a mysterious white light on tape already, and is growing somewhat frustrated. Just when he is ready to give up, the shadow man returns. And as he quivers in the cold, he fails to miss two eyes looking at him from the doorway where the footsteps just were. The K2 meter still hasn't gone off, but that's because it's not in the room with him. It's clearly waiting just outside. Upon announcing that this investigation is over, the Shadow Man takes it upon himself to walk into the same room and make itself known.
Holy.
A YouTuber named Jay Katera lives outside of an Air Force base somewhere in the southeast Michigan. He has been seeing some strange things in the sky lately, so he decides to point his security camera straight up and live stream. Not too long after, he captures this strange sighting. Jay Katera isn't sure if this is an alien UFO, a secret government project, or some sort of paranormal orb, but he is sure that it was scanning the ground as if it was looking for something. Let me know if you have a reasonable explanation for this, or if you've seen anything that looks similar, especially if you live in the same state as the cameraman. A YouTuber named JackCKXX is exploring an abandoned factory with some friends when they come across stairs leading to the upper levels. Something feels incredibly off about the place, but none of them want to look like the scared ones, so they all move deeper into the complex. They search around for a few minutes and don't find much besides an old picture. The factory has been abandoned for well over a decade, yet it feels like something is watching and following them at every turn. Finally, one of them has had enough and doesn't care about being brave anymore. He looks down a pitch black hallway and says,
"Oh, Jack, I think we should leave."
Now they are sure something is nearby and they start speaking in hushed whispers. It's hard to tell what they are saying, but it's clear that they are quite ready to get out of here. Meanwhile, whatever is watching them from the shadows is no longer worried about staying quiet and seems to be approaching fast. There's nothing left to do except find the nearest exit and get out, but everyone is too scared to think anymore and they remain frozen in place, listening in terror as footsteps draw near. Finally, something scares them into immediate action. They all run as fast as they can and quickly make it out of the factory in less than a minute. I have no idea what could make that noise, but I'm almost positive it wasn't human. A kid is checking out his loose tooth in the mirror when his reflection appears to move away before he does. It happens in a split second, so you have to look closely to see it. Maybe it's just the angle, but the reflection really does appear to lean away while the child himself remains stationary. Everything from an optical illusion to a haunted mirror has been proposed with no concrete answer. So if you know the proper explanation, then be sure to let me know. A popular YouTuber named Shark is brought to this allegedly haunted location after his friend had a ghost sighting here the last time he went exploring.
And this is Marco. This is the guy, you saw the ghost, right?
Yeah, but I saw
You actually saw a ghost?
a ghost, man.
You're not even kidding?
No, I'm dead serious.
Just kind of want to come here, see if we see anything paranormal, see if anything's going on, because right when he told me that, I was like, okay, we need to come.
They are approaching an old historic house when a mysterious figure is caught on camera in the courtyard.
Push, dude, that's not even
No,
moving.
it's moving.
Oh, yeah.
It's moving back. No, it's moving.
Pushes
Zoom in
don't
on
move.
that. It's like,
I'm zoomed in all the way.
it's like swaying back and
They argue whether or not the mysterious figure is alive, and then the object moves, so it's presumably a person. If this was a maintenance worker or a security guard, then they would probably have a flashlight, and they would also probably ask what's going on, not stand in place being as creepy as possible without making a sound, and what happens next is creepy beyond all explanation.
No. Wait, yo, she's actually moving!
They move. Bro, it's gone, bro.
The mysterious figure seemingly disappears on camera, although when played in slow motion, it kind of looks like they simply stepped backwards out of the light and into the darkness. Still creepy either way.
Literally right here was where it was. Dude, what?
There's nothing there.
Was that literally just a random girl or something?
I don't know what it was. It looked like a
It kind of looked like it had long hair, so I think it may have been a girl.
A ghost girl, to be precise. I don't necessarily see long hair like he claims, but I'll take his word for it. And 1 minute later, they turn around to see the same shadowy figure now standing in the very place where they were at the beginning of this 3 a.m. video. I think this is probably a paranormal event and most likely a ghost sighting of a little girl like they claim. The ghostly shadow figure doesn't seem much taller than the railing that it's standing beside. And here's a scary moment you probably missed. Watch this window. At 4 minutes and 25 seconds, the light is on, and as soon as they see the figure, the light turns off by itself. It could be a timer, but it's a small detail that makes me think this is not planned and is, in fact, a paranormal event. If you suffer from arachnophobia, you definitely would want to keep your lights on for this one. What at first looks like your ordinary everyday bramble of twigs amidst some rocks is not what it seems. With a stick, Connor Long, the video's creator, disturbs the nest, the many legs of which start to move. Published in July of 2011, Long came upon this daddy longlegs nest near Santa Barbara in Los Padres National Forest. Long notes that research into this clustering behavior came up short, as it isn't understood why they do this, whether it's for mating or moisture conservation during the hot summer months or some other reason. Whatever the basis for this behavior, one thing's for sure, don't step on this bramble, or you may just pass away of fear. A YouTuber named Eris is making a Ouija board YouTube video. That definitely did not go as planned. It's 3 in the morning when they make contact with no less than 8 spirits. First, the Ouija board spells out the word curse with a K, and then this happens.
No, it might be. Oh my gosh!
A chair pulls out on its own, and within minutes, a friend named Brandon is apparently completely possessed. They find him on the stairs sharpening knives without a word.
What happened? What the? Brandon? Brandon, okay? Oh, are you okay?
It's hard to tell if Brandon is truly possessed or just acting, but judging by this video, his strange and twisted reaction is definitely not what they had planned on that night. A YouTuber named RazakTube is ringing people's doorbells and then blending into their Christmas ornaments wearing a custom-made suit. It's a pretty funny joke until they get to the last house, when the owner comes out brandishing a firearm and a flashlight. They duck back into their car and try to play it off. It isn't long before their cover is blown and the neighbor comes stomping over.
Wait, he's right there. He's a gun. Say hello. Is he coming towards us? Yeah. Hello, sir?
You just come to my door, knocking on my door?
Sorry, I can't see anything.
Yeah, you're right, you can't see anything.
At this point, they stop making the YouTube video and quickly get out of there. I have little doubt that this video is completely real, especially considering the bonus footage his friend was able to shoot from the back seat.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? You understand me? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
It sounds to me like he was debating on calling the cops on them, and fortunately decided not to. Number 1. A YouTuber named Chris Lamb says that he was all alone when he shot this drone footage at Fort McClellan, Alabama, but the video says otherwise. You can clearly see that nobody is in the background at the beginning. But when Chris steadies the camera just a moment later, you can see someone standing by the street lamp. There's not enough time for anyone to walk out from behind a building, but yet here they are. Also, did you see how they seem to suddenly disappear in plain sight? I don't see any editing cuts, so I have absolutely no idea how this dark silhouette managed to vanish like that. Look again and you can definitely see them dematerialize. There's nothing wide enough for them to hide behind. They're just gone. Let me know if you think Chris Lamb's video is paranormal, extraterrestrial, or otherwise. Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes.
Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Oh, whoa.
Oh, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. Well, this size falls short of an adult megalodon. Some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile, since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils. We may never know for sure. This YouTube video posted by a user named Relly Kane doesn't have a source, but he claims it happened somewhere in Vermont. The creature looks a lot like the rake, except there appears to be two long and possibly razor-sharp arms jutting ahead to support its weight as it moves. The legs look very small and unnatural at 14 seconds in, and at 42 seconds, you can see its arms are way too long to be a human. However, at the 55-second mark, it looks like it could possibly be someone in a costume, leaning on two walking sticks. So what do you make of this? A disturbing shadow is settling over this room. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Kenton Bryant Music writes, "My buddy had his motion sensor go off for this. It never goes off unless his dog walks in front of the camera. The only problem? The dog was locked in the bedroom at the time." This was captured on his friend's Wise security camera in February of 2020. The video shows a darkened room with a light source at one end. A dark shadow sweeps into view, covering the light source briefly before disappearing from sight. The strangest part about this is that the shadow seems not to touch the ground. Is it flying? Redditor Gucci the God says that it could be lights from a passing car, coupled with a low light capture of the camera. But the OP nixes this idea, saying there's no window there and the driveway is private. Some in the comments think this is legit paranormal footage. This really looks like a shadow figure to me. What do you think? Any other explanations? A ghost hunting crew called the Singapore Paranormal Investigators go exploring the abandoned Bucket Brown Cemetery. Constructed in 1922, this is one of the largest burial grounds in the entire country. So if any place were to be haunted, it would be here. They light candles to attract spirits and soon read an energy spike on their paranormal equipment. They take a picture of the darkness ahead and think they've caught something paranormal in the shape of a glowing orb. I played this part in slow motion and discovered this strange orb is really a street sign reflecting the flash of the camera. I don't think they were purposefully faking this part and probably thought it was real paranormal evidence at the time because they were scared. The ghost meter swirls with another buildup of paranormal energy, and a solid black orb comes out of the equipment, or more likely an insect. Later that night, they think they see something fly over the candles in the area. I don't see anything here, but maybe you do. Their camera stops working shortly after they see it, so maybe there was a ghost after all. There's a YouTube channel called the Zeroth Folio of Shakespeare that posts nothing but weird Shakespearean quotes in a low, menacing voice. Somebody has been posting dozens of these videos for over a year now, despite most of them having only 5 views or less. I don't really understand what these videos could possibly mean individually or when put together. All I know is that it's almost like whoever is uploading these videos is on some kind of mysterious mission with a hidden purpose that I doubt is benign. Anyway, here's where things get really weird. The right side of these videos has always shown static for the past year, but at the end of their latest video, posted 4 months ago, the static suddenly clears and this scary event happens. I also noticed how the thumbnail for this video looks different than the others, further adding to the mystery. All of the other thumbnails show the same image of static, but this newest one clearly shows a strange looking man wearing what appears to be clothing from another time period. Take a look at the channel and let me know if you think this is just a clever gimmick or some kind of nefarious creation loaded with hidden messages. Lars Sebastian Diamond is a YouTuber who appears to be calling out some sort of high-level corruption, though I have no idea what he means. The first video he ever made is extremely hard to understand because he is mumbling something while holding his ID.
Because every day, especially mothers, spend
Then he plays some text-to-speech program for a minute that unfortunately also makes little sense to me as well.
Day that children, their mothers, fathers, and young girls are being severely mistreated.
Almost all of his videos start with him showing his ID and then playing the text-to-speech program outside of his window or in various public places. There's little context to go off of, which somehow makes these videos even stranger. Even his ordinary trips to the grocery store somehow seem creepy as he slowly photographs everything that he is buying, and the receipt like they are all important evidence. Judging by the number of mysterious videos he makes every day, this dark issue must constantly be on his mind. Chris Hopkins goes exploring a haunted mental asylum close to 3 a.m. called Forest Haven. As the name implies, they have to cut through a forest on foot to get there, and that's when their troubles begin.
That was somebody. Yeah. We're walking down the trail. We just heard someone right over there.
Chris turns on his flashlight and soon sees a mysterious light in return. They play flashlight tag for a while until they discover a group of other people who, while friendly, claim to be ghost hunters on a quote-unquote another mission.
Yo, we just met up with these guys. Hey, yo, these were some of the guys we were in here.
Actual ghost hunters, but we on another mission right now.
They don't think much of the comment and join together to go exploring the abandoned mental hospital. As they get to talking, the strangers kneel down and show what their special mission really is: to take copper from wires and sell it for money. That's when it occurs to them that they are around some shady people in an abandoned building who have sharp instruments and are looking for valuable equipment, like their expensive cameras. Thinking fast, Chris walks back to get his friends.
Dude, come out here and listen to all these birds. Listen to all these birds.
They don't say a word and awkwardly walk away, which is the right choice. Who knows what would have happened to them if they stayed around? Jamie West is on vacation, and earlier that day, she and her friends had a brief conversation with some random boys at their hotel. It's late at night when they get a knock on their door and find the same group waiting for them outside. Now Jamie and her friends are nervously watching from the other side of the door, trying to decide what to do. It kind of seems like it could be some innocent back and forth flirting until one of the strangers gets even bolder. They record Jamie and her friends through the crack in the door, encouraging them to come outside in hushed tones all the while. Jamie goes deeper into the hotel room and doesn't answer the door. Let me know if you would have done the same thing, or if you would have taken the chance and opened the door for them. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice.
Wait.
But I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. While planting trees, a YouTube channel called Homesteading Off the Grid accidentally records the eerie cries of something shrieking deep in the forest. If you know what kind of animal this is, let me know, because many people claim this sounds like some kind of mix between a human and an animal.
Did you
Sound
hear
like
that?
it's screaming at me, yeah.
Oh wow.
They don't hear anything for another 6 minutes and decide to stop recording. If this was a person, it sounds like they were in serious need of help. Nevertheless, that shriek is enough to give anyone chills. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge. The very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. Here's another strange basement video that doesn't seem to have any good explanation. Besides the paranormal, a YouTuber named David's Ghost Cams has recently installed a brand new smoke and carbon monoxide detector that seems to be acting quite strangely. First of all, it only goes off when he is downstairs. Second, it tells him that the carbon monoxide levels are at 0%, which means it shouldn't be going off at all. Finally, it tells him to get out of his home.
Okay, so we're gonna go downstairs, and I'm going to show you what happened the other night.
Look what happens as soon as he steps foot in the basement. Keep in mind that this alarm has not gone off since the last time he went downstairs. There's obviously no smoke to speak of. This, combined with other weird happenings, has David convinced that his basement is quite haunted. David explains that he once had a house guest who stayed in the basement over 3 months before taking his life. Everyone was surprised. Ever since then, David has noticed things in the house moving around by themselves, strange noises, and most recently, the faulty smoke alarm. Even stranger is that how, as soon as David starts talking about the smoke alarm again, it goes off on its own for a second time. The only explanation I have for this video is that somehow David is manually testing the smoke detector himself and blaming it on a ghost as a prank. However, all of the smoke detectors I've ever seen requires you to physically press a button. This one really does seem to be going off all by itself. This brings me to an interesting point. If David's house guest was a friend, then why would he be telling him to leave his home? Perhaps there is some sort of danger. Perhaps he is trying to warn David of a gas leak or an impending fire. I guess only time will tell. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? Oh. 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. A father and son ghost hunting team are at an old graveyard somewhere in the south. They stumble upon a child's tombstone and get to work. The son attempts to communicate with the passed-on child by planting an old pinwheel in the ground.
If there's a child out here that wants to play with this toy, feel free to make it move.
The father says that there is absolutely no wind on this night, so the pinwheel should not be able to move. To prove there is no wind, he records a tall blade of grass next to the tombstone and clearly shows that it's not moving. This child's gravestone is from the late 1800s. Pinwheels were probably very popular during this time, so it makes sense that the spirit would be excited and ready to play. Another structure that's prime real estate for a haunting: hospitals. Posted to YouTube by Ogden Paranormal in September of 2019. The group of paranormal investigators explores Old 2L Hospital, one of Utah's most haunted places. Samuel Lee built the structure as a resident in 1873. His family lived there until 1913, after which it was remodeled into a home for the elderly and those with special needs. Some called it the county poorhouse. The Old 2L Hospital closed down in 2000, with half of it serving as an elderly care unit, while the other half serves as Asylum 49. Although Anderson was skeptical about the site's paranormal activity at first, his research into the hospital prompted him and his wife to contact paranormal researchers to investigate the site in 2007. Upon exploring the building, the UGO, or Utah Ghost Organization, documented thousands of EVPs and captured pictures and video footage of mists, apparitions, shadows, orbs, and other seemingly paranormal activity. Now, the 2L Hospital is the scene of private ghost searches twice a year, from January to July. So what sort of spirits haunt this hospital? The nurse spirit, Maria, is said to guard a spiritual portal in the hospital that is believed to lead to another world. Another ghost that haunts the hospital goes by the name of Wes. This patient appears scared and confused, as it's said that the real Wes had Alzheimer's at the time of his passing. Ghost West haunts the room that he stayed when he was alive, as well as the nearby hallway. A medium tried to assist West in crossing over, but was hindered by some dark entity that always remains close by. With this background in mind, without further ado, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Ogden writes, "We've investigated here a few times in the past and captured incredible evidence, but our last visit scared us so bad that we ended up leaving early. Now we return to this location to face whoever or whatever ran us out of the building all those years ago. This time, the group's visit includes light anomalies, particularly the entire operating room lighting up and a strange light appearing in the nursery. Strange sounds are heard at 10 minutes 13 seconds and 10 minutes 15 seconds.
Where you at, Wes? Where you at, Wes?
And all the mannequins set up around the hospital don't help one bit. Creepiness is given an edge by those inert bodies. At around 17 minutes 37 seconds as well, it looks as if a foot appears on camera in the bottom left corner. Disembodied voices go unexplained. The entire video makes you wonder if this is paranormal's resting place. Warning, don't enter a dark and disturbing abandoned house at night. Posted by Ka Records in 2010, the team is exploring an abandoned house at night when they zoom in on a corner of the room. In that dark corner, behind various obstructions, appears a creepy girl doll. The disturbing sight causes them to race from the room. Wouldn't you? I don't think they had any other choice. A YouTuber named Lou Rock is live streaming from a supposedly haunted location, known only as the Yellow House. He and his friend are cautiously poking around the abandoned building when a faint noise sends them running directly into a large room to investigate. The room is bare except for an inordinate number of gnarled clothes hangers in the closet, which begin twisting in unison, almost as if in acknowledgement of their presence.
There's not a window open in here.
Are they moving? It looks like they're moving.
Wow.
This is on live stream, so you can see for yourself. At no point did they touch the hangers. I think the hangers really are being moved by an unseen force based on what I'm about to show you next. As you can see from this video, there is no wind moving the blinds or curtains at all, so it couldn't have been a draft moving the hangers. They continue to find more weird miscellaneous objects scattered around the house, including a rope tied to a ripped kid's shoe.
It looks like somebody was hung up by their feet.
Giant holes have been punched into the wall of this room, either from destructive teens or from the previous house owner during an aggressive fit of rage. Just as they are sensing something deeply wrong with the kitchen, something brings them back into the room with blown out walls.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
They are genuinely creeped out by now and don't make it much further before the sound returns again.
Alright, we're out of here.
At this point, Lou Rock wisely decides to leave before he becomes the Yellow House's next permanent resident. Something in the woods is about to blow this cop's mind and his eardrums. He walks back with wide eyes and puts his flashlight away, completely done with the situation until backup arrives, but backup doesn't seem to do much better. I think this could be a recording because the scream sounds exactly the same both times. So maybe somebody put a really good speaker system in the woods, or maybe that's just what I'm choosing to believe because I don't want to accept that this is real. A YouTuber named Adam the Woo is checking out an old abandoned barbecue restaurant in the middle of the California desert and picks up strange occurrences that are possibly supernatural. There are a lot of moments in this video that sound like voices far away, saying words too quietly to understand, like here for example. There's also a lot of electrical disturbances that happen for pretty much no reason. At one point, Adam calls out into what should be an otherwise empty room and gets the faintest of replies.
Hello?
Listen again and tell me if you hear it. A lot of people think that this was a female voice saying hello, but it sounds too far away to tell for sure. Perhaps most unsettling of all, however, is what could be a pair of feet in the stall of this busted out bathroom. Would you be able to put up with this unfathomable poltergeist activity? YouTuber Sylvia C has long battled an angry energy wreaking havoc on her home. She experienced yet another encounter in May of this year.
What's happening again, guys? Lit.
What unresolved issues does this poltergeist have? He seems to often take it out on the kitchen.
Guys.
Commenter Enki2 has some advice for Sylvia in the comments. He writes, "Ghosts are like trolls. Don't feed them attention, respect, or most of all, fear." But I gotta say, with paranormal happenings like this happening around your home, it'd be pretty hard to ignore it. Did this YouTuber capture skinwalkers in a screaming match? While wandering through Gila National Forest, mysterious wailing echoed all around him. As the cameraman stood waiting, he heard the screams again. They were so terrifying, they spun him around. And again. But where is it coming from? And to whom does this wailing belong? Skinwalkers? Or something else entirely? I think I'm going to stay far away from that forest. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be? A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average-sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. This worrisome video I'm about to show you was posted on March 18th of 2017 by a person who had been teetering on the edge of self-destruction for years.
Things are much worse this time. Something seems to be after me. I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
You'll never guess what he does next, but first let me tell you what he has been through. His psychological torment would begin in early 2015, approximately 2 years before his final goodbye. That was when someone began knocking at his door almost every night for days. He lives all alone and is a very private person, so introverted in fact that we never learn his name. For him to have a visitor is not normal, let alone in the middle of the night. The knocks were annoying at first, but he figured it would stop if he ignored it. But when that didn't work, he decided to start documenting everything early on, in case he needed to take it to the police or something later. He also decided to confront it and defend himself if need be. This incident, taken on February 12, 2015, starts with 2 knocks that are so soft, it would be easy to think you're imagining them. But after 3 weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and hears every noise, so he springs to action ready to meet force with force, but there's just one problem. Nothing is ever there to confront. Listen closely to this part, because I hear chatter after he locks up. He installs a second camera outside the very next night on February 13th, 2015, Friday the 13th to be exact. Sure enough, it starts again. He opens the door and no one's there. It's not 2 different videos put together either, because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, like at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he smooths his hair. Even if he practiced this routine, it still wouldn't be this dead on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this happens at 3 AM every night. Anyone would want to move and he absolutely did, but his money situation meant he couldn't either continue to endure this or go homeless in the middle of the winter. Eventually, he decides to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can catch whatever or whoever is doing this on video. He doesn't see them, but he does find footprints leading away from his house into the woods. The footprint is separated in 2 halves, more like a hoof print than a foot, yet 2 legs instead of 4. Some people have said this could be a demon or even a cryptid. I don't know about all of that, but I know that he really did go out at 3 a.m. and I know this because I hear a train throughout the video. Oddly enough, this late night train is heard in all of his videos, and I think could be closely related. Something bad must have happened on the nearby tracks. By August 28th, whatever had left those footprints was looking for other ways inside both day and night. No longer was it confined to 3 a.m. Tell me if this is an animal or something way worse. I didn't hear any claws tapping. This was the sound of somebody fast. A raccoon or a possum would be doing this at nighttime. This was something big in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. So after years of experiencing this and other similar encounters, perhaps you'll better understand why, after saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply decided to open up the door and stop.
Goodbye.
Whatever that was, it sounded far from being a person. Over 2 years later, this mysterious final video was uploaded on January 1st, 2019. Those sound like church bells. Maybe this is a clip taken from a funeral. Could it be his? And whoever typed these replies doesn't act like him at all. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Felicity goes in search of a spirit called the White Lady of Lancashire, who is said to be looking for her lost child. Felicity stands over her memorial, or rather her memorial stands over her, and she says the words which, according to legend, are meant to make the statue's eyes open.
I stolen your baby.
This push from behind is probably real because you can hear someone laying hands on her before she takes a step forward. Felicity feels dizzy and immediately regrets ever provoking the supernatural. The weather worsens and the wind picks up this wail, which sounds like a banshee more than an animal. Felicity heads down the trail with haste and finds out for herself that the legends are all real after all. A shadowy form glides across the trail and then disappears. It's too far away to see for certain whether this was a normal person or the lady herself, so we may never know for sure. When you're driving home exhausted at the end of the long day, stay conscious and keep your eyes peeled. You might just see this. This supernatural clip was posted in April of 2020, claiming it's a real sighting on a haunted roadside. So let's take a look and see for ourselves. The clip shows someone driving down a dirt road in the near darkness. As they turn a corner, a dark figure barely visible can be seen crossing the path. On closer inspection, the figure looks long-limbed and big-eyed with a strangely shaped skull. It crosses slowly before sitting down at the side of the road. If human, what is this strange behavior? If not, any theories as to what this creature might be? Whether paranormal or some earthly figure, running into this near dusk might be enough to end your life. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first, they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on, they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes.
Are you there?
Maybe lift your arms up.
Why?
Cause it.
What?
Yo, what?
No, that was you. Is that not you? No.
They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time, and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause.
Are you standing next to Frank Tilton?
Are you Frank Tilton?
When was he born?
Stop playing. Stop.
Oh my god, no way! That actually fell!
They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. Beyond this fence lays an abandoned asylum that a YouTuber named TGF Bro and his friends badly want to explore. The inside looks like a tattered mansion on the verge of collapse. Strange noises follow them as they progress deeper into the interior of the asylum.
This is dark. Did you get that on camera?
When they get deep enough, TGF Bro pulls out a Ouija board and begins directing questions to whoever or whatever is near.
If there's anybody there, please move the triangle to yes.
The group hears a loud bang directly behind them, and they all take off. I noticed that the third person was off camera though, so maybe that person made the commotion and then acted scared. Then again, old asylums are supposed to be notoriously haunted, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Ouija board really did bring spirits near.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird.
A brave man hears sinister laughter near his house and rushes outside to investigate. The maniacal laughter is moving closer to where he is standing now. He stands by the streetlight rather than going any further into the darkness on his own. I was thinking that this could be a simple coyote, but then he says this.
If foxes and coyotes have been around here that long, why we wouldn't have heard them before? And all of a sudden, since November, things have been just going crazy around our community.
So apparently, foxes and coyotes have been around this area for a long time, and never have they made these kinds of noises before, meaning that this was probably something different. I also really want to know what he meant when he says that strange things have been happening in his community in November. This video was apparently taken on a reservation in Oregon, but if anyone knows which one, then please let me know so that I can do some further research. Anyway, things seem to be quieting down when all of a sudden shots are fired and an unearthly scream fills the night air. If this was not a fox or a coyote, then what could it possibly have been? If there was a soundtrack to your nightmares, it would probably sound like this. Posted to TikTok by Hannah Hallett. She writes simply, help? You'd be seeking help too if this Yankee Doodle was blaring outside your window in the darkness of night. Hannah captures what looks like an ice cream truck making a U-turn on her road in the darkness. Well, that's a little odd considering the time of day, but not overly scary. The fact that the truck's haunting children's music is blaring from its speakers, even as darkness envelopes the night, is absolutely terrifying. Who is this ice cream man trying to attract? Imagine this nightmare fuel filtering into your subconscious as you fall off to sleep. Pretty sure nightmares would be a guarantee. Security cameras often catch those creatures that we'd rather know nothing about. This is one of them. This video took place in Southern California. The uploader writes, "This thing fell through the wood under the eave of my house and struggled for 3 hours until it fell. The vid starts where it happened in the daytime and then goes to the event." The uploader adds that whatever the creature is came out at the top right near the vent, and it happened between midnight and 3:30 in the morning. The footage shows what appeared to be a tentacle-like object, which appears and then disappears several times. The pointy end of it starts wiggling, and it stretches out as if it's trying to reach the vent, while the other end still attached to the wall. It does finally manage to acrobat over and get its head up in there. Then, before you know it, it's squirming up into the vent, its tail waggling all over the place. It's then seen wrapping around a nearby pole before it climbs down the wall. Last seen on the ground at 3:30 in the morning. Looks like an acrobatic snake to me. Whatever the creature is, it's sure to keep you up at night. This surveillance footage looks like it was taken on an academic campus of some sort. The security camera is glitching out and skipping frames, which is supposed to be a clear indication that Slenderman is near. Look closely here, and you can see a transparent figure in the upper left. Then, without warning, a tall figure is suddenly looming over a young boy. Slenderman yanks the boy high into the air by both arms, and then the video quickly cuts off. I noticed in the bottom right corner that this camera was marked Camera 01, but I wasn't able to find footage from any of the other cameras. If somebody recognizes this location, then maybe we can do some more precise investigating and get to the bottom of this mysterious sighting. The Ninjin is supposed to be a large aquatic humanoid that was originally discovered by Japanese whale researchers in the Arctic. This video, allegedly taken from the Japanese Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology, appears to strongly corroborate the legend. The slow-moving camera creeps past what appears to be a rounded humanoid creature with 2 large white eyes. Look closely and you can see a playful smile across the sea creature's face in what some have called a knowing look. Everything from a whale to a rock has been proposed, though nothing has been verified. Let me know if you think this video is evidence of a human-like creature lurking somewhere in the icy waters below. A YouTuber named Sonia Said is making a vlog about life in general when she decides to take a rest in the park on a nice Sunday. Big mistake.
I have some guy staring at me in front of me. He's been like holding the tree.
Notice how he lines himself perfectly out of her sight. He could come from behind and she wouldn't be able to see it coming.
What am I doing? You guys are about to see him right now. And I am gonna leave. What a weirdo. There he is. So weird. People are so creepy.
He is definitely facing her way when she decides that she's had enough.
And now we get up and go.
He's still facing her direction long after she goes, arms innocently behind his back like nothing's wrong.
So creepy. People are so creepy.
Now, if this stranger's behavior doesn't make you say bruh, I don't know what will. Is there a giant panda lurking nearby? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Flower Sliders writes, took a walk on an abandoned road in rural Japan, saw this, not sure what to make of it. Local friend said he'd never seen anything like it before. The video shows a thick stalk of bamboo shaking dramatically, amongst other bamboo stalks.
Okay, that's weird, right? Why is it moving?
Yeah. Can we go? Why is it doing
Do you guys not see that down there?
What?
Right
Shut
there.
up. I'm not gonna look.
There's nothing.
Okay, why is it still moving?
The rest of the stalks are still, so what is causing this one to shake? Some in the comments think it's the Kadama, spirits in Japanese folklore that inhabit trees. Others think it could be an animal feasting on its roots or burrowing beneath the stalk. Spirits or not, it sure looks creepy. And to think before watching this video, a walk in rural Japan seems so peaceful to me.
I'm legitimately out running and getting out of here. I don't understand. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, maybe there's something. Wait. But still, no, it's not. It's cut there, so they shouldn't be.
Knock knock. Who's there? Published by C's Crazy Crossroads in March of 2022, C is exploring a random creepy house in the woods that looks like it's abandoned, but is it? Chris and Joe first hear this ruckus coming from another room. He says the drain cover moved.
This freaking thing just moved.
What is it?
A drain, like, cover thing.
Later, as he's capturing footage of walls that have been punched in and the wallpaper torn off, his camera light keeps shutting off despite having good battery life.
If I could get my light going again. Alright, there's still battery life on my light and it keeps shutting off in here for some reason.
Light?
Yep, this light on top.
He then hears something break, and then his light goes out again. Is something unpleasantly paranormal lingering here? Unseen. It seems like Chris and Joe got out just in time.
Let's say 36 or...
That was weird. And the light went out. Alright.
This scary highway encounter would have easily gone unnoticed forever, if not for a dashcam recording. Pay attention to the bottom right and you'll see a blurry figure slip under the car in a matter of seconds. Pause the video and you'll see the undeniable outline of a girl from the waist up. She appears to be wearing a white dress and staring ahead with a gray face. I guess this could be light reflecting off of the pavement, but this also really does look like the outline of a person who was once living. Maybe every so often they appear in the exact same location where they sadly lost their life years ago. 3 friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please. Come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. A YouTuber named Nick makes it clear from the beginning that he does not believe in Bloody Mary in the slightest. He turns the lights off, and then 3 times in a row he sarcastically says,
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. See guys, like I said.
Before he has a chance to finish his sentence, the figure touches him and he falls to the floor. If this was real, exactly how this video was recorded or uploaded remains a mystery, as it looks like Nick might not have pulled through. This dashcam video comes from Tempe, Arizona. Rafaela Vasquez is watching Hulu on her phone when suddenly a bicyclist heads directly into her path. One thing makes this recording an extra strange case. This is actually an experimental self-driving car made by Uber that is supposed to be able to operate without a driver. With that said, Uber hired Rafaela to sit in the car and take the steering wheel just in case something like this happened, which she sadly failed to do. The pedestrian, Elaine Herzberg, did not pull through. Despite this, I could not find any news articles that says Rafaela Vasquez was charged with anything. Maybe Elaine violated traffic laws by crossing at an unmarked spot at night. Let me know if you think Uber or Rafaela should be held responsible. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Eric relies on Randonautica to show them the scariest place they've ever seen, and it doesn't let them down. They soon find themselves at the end of a long dirt road with multiple signs, and one of them is a warning. Google wasn't able to translate the wording perfectly, but apparently this sign says that the property is owned by a dangerous witch who has eyes on them at all times. If someone could tell me the full message, I would really appreciate it. They find 2 fences lined with creepy dolls. Some of the dolls are burned and have parts missing, as if they were used for black magic rituals before being placed on display as a warning for all to see. It must have taken a lot of time and dedication to collect so many dolls, and I wouldn't be surprised if the children who own them are being kept somewhere nearby. At the end of the road, they find 3 homemade mannequins wearing old clothes that could be scarecrows for a small garden, or more ritual props.
Do you guys see that?
Something looks weird about the one on the left. When they get closer, since I don't see any crops, I don't think it's a garden. The way this is all set up looks more like a memorial, if anything. I wouldn't be surprised if some passed on individuals were buried below the earth here, and I don't think I want to find out. A little farther up the trail, they find this old shack that looks more like a place to hold somebody, or something creepy like that rather than a place to live. They are about to explore the shed when they feel distant eyes upon them and go running. I have to say that seems like the right choice. A TikTok user by the name of Baddest Bunny on the Block uses Randonautica in search of creepy stuff with a story to tell. The TikTok app takes them to one of the scariest Randonautica finds on this list. By a river near a bus station, they find a discarded tarp by a mound of freshly dug earth. Under the blue tarp is a shredded black trash bag, inside of which they find a shovel and an object covered in red. Before you think they put this here themselves, consider the fact that she calls the police, who take interest in the scene and actually collect evidence instead of shrugging it off. Based on their reactions, I think she might be onto something. Tattooed Tony Alton goes exploring a hospital in East St. Louis, Illinois. That's beyond creepy. The hospital was abandoned sometime in the late 90s and has been standing undisturbed ever since. At 27 minutes and 21 seconds, they discover a door where the ground is damp and covered in sludge. The mysterious substance grows thicker on the other side, and you can hear Tony's protective boots slushing around in at least an inch of slimy muck. Only when he reaches the end of the hallway does he realize he's been exploring the hospital's morgue, which has been unrefrigerated for years. I don't want to know what was on that floor, but that's about as wrong as I've ever seen an urban exploration gone. It's not surprising to most of us when schools are haunted. Just think of all the evil that goes on there. Posted by Dundee into the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is from his old middle school, a Coal River Heights school, and was taken in 2013 or 14. This short video appears to show a phantom in the hallway of the middle school. It floats past unsuspectingly, appearing for only a couple seconds before vanishing out of sight. Dundee provides further details of the video's origin in the comments of this clip, explaining who is behind it. All I really know of it is that it was my friend's mom who knew the janitor, and he sent her the video of this. I'm guessing that he wasn't sure that he could record the screen somehow. Redditor Windtree Rock then wondered what the janitor's backstory was, as he was curious why the janitor took the video, and if he suspected paranormal activity. Without this information, skeptics in the comments suspect this is a bug, thinking it's a spider. Others are leaning towards the paranormal, with many expressing fear of what this is. Are you afraid? This one will make you scream and give you nightmares. Posted by Sermi127 in September of 2007. This YouTube video went so viral that it prompted this YouTuber to create a pantry ghost documentary. Sermi writes, "It has been 5 months since the last sighting of the ghost in my pantry. I filmed the door myself at 12:34 every night for 4 months, waiting for some paranormal activity. On September 19th, I capture what may be the first real ghost video proof. So let's take a look at this proof. The beginning of the video shows the pantry door opening of its own accord in the darkness. The man filming walks towards the door and shuts it, and as he backs away, a freaky figure presses its face and hands against the glass of the door. As he backs up, the horrifying thing disappears for some reason. He then approaches the door again, jerking it open, but there's nothing there. The contents within the pantry appear untouched. Did your hair stand on end? Did you scream? Some in the comments of this video did. This video had me afraid of what might be lurking behind the closed doors in my plate. These residents captured an actual witch on camera hovering right in their driveway, shared by YouTuber Madisy ENT. The footage was taken at around 3 in the morning. Watch closely above the vehicle.
Baby. Baby, come on, see. Baby, baby. Babe. See. It's on me. Shh, come on, see. What's that?
The mysterious being drifts for a moment, and all you can see is its glowing eyes and wild hair, and then it does this. Whether this was a witch or not, I think it was important to run away. My advice to this YouTuber would be to put as much space between you and this thing as possible. This place is terrifying. YouTuber Terror Alex Streamo encountered tons of paranormal activity at this haunted playground. First, they hear children's voices in the darkness, and then they see a swing swinging on its own.
Mira, hijo. ¿Qué pasó, pa? Mira.
Next, another childlike voice is heard.
No manches. No manches.
Then something bangs against the roof above.
Whoa.
And the children's voices are heard again.
Pues es algo ilógico, ¿no? O sea, no está haciendo bastante aire como para que se esté moviendo de esa manera.
No, pues no está haciendo aire, hijo.
And again here.
Y mira, ahorita está como si nada.
Finally, they capture something visible on camera. Later, another figure is moving through the tall brush.
Algo va pasando, ¿ya viste?
I'm not sure if the figure is a child, but the voices throughout the video definitely sound like it. Is this a case of the urban legend of black-eyed children? I wouldn't get near enough to find out. Ben of the YouTube channel Laney and Ben says paranormal events still occur in their forever haunted home. Here's a quick update of some of those events. First, a cup trick. Followed by the opening of kitchen drawers. Watch the silverware closely. Things get even more dangerous in another video. And the kitchen soon devolves into this madness. It doesn't appear that Laney and Ben's poltergeists are fading anytime soon. In fact, the last video makes me think their powers are only getting stronger. YouTube team Extinct File explores an abandoned mansion where they're tormented by ghost children. Inside the dark and dreary place, they find this unsettling picnic.
quieres, güey? Comida.
They turn toward another room and a moment later see this.
Ay, Dios. No mames.
After a while, they hear some barking in the distance and then something much closer.
Todo esto es de mármol, güey. Todo esto.
As they head upstairs to investigate, this happens.
Ay, Dios. No te pases de lanza. No mames. No mames.
Later, they try to communicate with the ghost children.
Que se quiera comunicar con nosotros.
This is what they saw.
Hijo de la...
Did you see it too? I'm pretty certain that was a ghost child, and if it was, the crew had better watch their backs. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Crystal Hill 0193, this redditor wrote, "Checking out an abandoned school when we were chased out. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
It doesn't matter to me. Another throwback.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lit_FUS3D wrote, "Scared out, I'd say." To which the uploader responded saying, "We were on the highest floor, nobody was above us, but yet it came from above us, and when we got out of the building we heard footsteps running at us. Perhaps there was someone else in the building that day, and they weren't expecting visitors. Or perhaps this abandoned school truly is haunted. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. There's something lurking around this haunted place," shared by TikToker The King Horror. The kid who saw it with his own eyes cried in fear. After racing far away from the place, they turn back, and then they see this. This hooded figure is something nightmares are made of, and he's the perfect villain for bedtime. While communicating with lost souls in the Witch's Mirror, YouTube team Toppy's session gets dark. Nastya explains where the mirror comes from.
Данное зеркало принадлежало моей покойной прабабушке. Прабабушка славилась тем, что она была шептухой.
And she begins the ritual. It sounds like something wants out of the mirror. And a shadow falls on the wall beside Nastya. The whole team comes, and through a spirit box, they ask if someone is there.
Я включаю спиритбокс. С нами кто-нибудь сейчас здесь есть?
After communicating with the spirits for a time, they leave a still camera in front of the mirror, and this is what they capture. What is this strange dark haze? Is it the spirit? I think it is. If I had to guess, I'd say this witch's mirror is a portal to the afterlife, one that shouldn't be tampered with. What goes up must come down. Posted by V. Fieldson on TikTok, as Fieldson walks beside a house, capturing a bicycle lying in the middle of the sidewalk. He pulls the shot upright, catching the roof of the house in frame. Someone is up there watching him. The watcher appears to be filming him too. At least he seems to be holding something with a light on. He rushes from view, and darkness envelopes him. Of course, this is TikTok, so that's where the clip ends. However, as we know, what goes up must come down. After all, he's got to come down from that rooftop eventually. The story of Sally in the Wood goes something like this. Located outside Bath in Somerset, there's a road that passes into the woodland of Brown's Folly, which locals refuse to drive down after dark due to the terrifying legend surrounding it, known by locals as Sally in the Wood. It is said that no birds can be heard chirping through this stretch of the forest, as a girl has her life taken there and now haunts the place. Some say they've heard a screaming child in the dark forest, and some have seen a full-bodied apparition of a girl racing into the road at night. The legends are all over the place about Sally in the Woods. According to some, Sally was an 18th century gypsy girl who was held captive in a tower, where she perished. The website Wiltshire Paranormal claims that this story is entirely fictional, and that the name Sally in the Woods more likely came from a battle that occurred at Brown's Folly in 1643, as Sally is slang for skirmish. This could very well be true. However, the Bathford Society claims that Sally was an actual person, but not the only one who passed away in a tower. This legend claims that Sally was a witch, living in a hut in the woods. Local records put Sally's passing at the age of 100, although that wouldn't really explain her appearance as a young girl ghost, unless Sally the witch had the ability to appear youthful. Regardless of what you choose to believe, the generational legend of Sally in the Woods lives on, and the resulting fear can be felt throughout this video, published to YouTube by the Abandoned Prepper in March of 2020, examining various parts of the house up close. The Abandoned Prepper wanders through this haunted place solo. Some parts of the house appear deeply aged, while others recall the more recent past. There's an old piano, a strange lock on the door, and an old photo box in the basement that appears as though they're from another century, but other parts of the home look as though they're from the 60s or 70s. Prepper says that he can hear water running and regularly hears strange noises. Shortly after entering, there's a definite sound of glasses clinking about upstairs while he is downstairs.
This is massive. I'm getting a bit scared now. Hello?
Prepper calls out to alert anyone else exploring the house to his presence. He also said the house has recently become a hotspot for urban explorers. He returns to the first floor and then upstairs to the second. He keeps hearing strange noises throughout. Birds are chirping and the sound of running water.
What? Someone's flooding the basement.
He compares the house to Amityville and says it definitely gives him bad vibes. While he explores the adjacent house, at one point he enters a room. Notice there's no blue ball here. He heads upstairs and there's a loud sound of something wooden slamming or falling down. When he returns to that same room later, there's a blue ball in the middle of it. The call is coming from inside the house. He also finally discovers where the sound of running water was coming from. The basement of the house is being flooded. There's a hose passing down there, so it looks like it was done intentionally. As he's getting ready to head out of the home, he turns the corner to descend the stairs. That's when you hear the strike of a piano key.
Off. Hello?
While at the same time the hallway light bulb is swinging back and forth, he races down to catch whoever struck the cord, but there's no one. Finally outside, he turns back to look at the dark shell of a house. You can literally feel the creepiness shed away from you. This creepy video comes from the equally creepy TikTok handle, I'm Watching. uploaded by user 2439525375589. The video shows someone indeed watching, taken from the vantage point of the watcher itself. A large sharp blade is used to open a home's window shutters slowly until a crack wide enough is made to look inside. Someone can be seen at home, appearing oblivious to the person who's watching them, going about their business and shutting off the light. The watcher leaves shortly after. While creepy in and of itself, the soundtrack to the video certainly ups the ambience. When requesting that a spirit manifest itself, you'd better be ready. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by On Behalf of the Gesture. This is what happens when you provoke a ghost. After inviting a ghost in a giant empty warehouse to manifest itself, the Redditor asks the spirit not to scare him too badly. The ghost only heard the first half, appearing in the form of smoke or dust or vapor of some kind. It shocks the Redditor so much that he quickly backs up and turns to leave. He's lucky he did. Who knows what was waiting for him in the darkness? I have really no explanation for this one other than the paranormal, so that's what I'm going with. Years ago, everyone was talking about a possible witch sighting on the side of the road in India that went viral. Now a second scary video is making rounds, this one possibly taken from around the same area. An older traveler with a cane appears to be walking down the middle of the road at night in bright white robes. As the driver gets closer, he is surprised to find the strange man is taking steps, but not moving forward, almost like a ghost. Tell me what they are saying here, because they sound excited and I would really like to know what their real reaction to a ghost sighting was. Then the strange figure begins to walk backwards in slow, jerky movements, without so much as even looking behind him once. This is probably one of their friends, but if they actually caught a real ghost on camera, like they think they have, then I guess the paranormal apparition would have no reason to fear cars. And after all, the worst has already happened, and now this feeble ghost is forever forced to explore the haunted road, where potentially its life came to pass. The team from Casa Sobrenatural is visiting a house with a malignant demon in this scary clip. At first, they think they see something.
É muito assustador, velho.
Ah, vai se lascar.
Vocês escutaram? Killer?
Por Deus, você mexeu aquela
O quê? O que mexeu?
Por Deus do céu que mexeu, Sandro.
Mexeu o quê, Der?
Mexeu a cadeira, por Deus do céu, Sandro. Você não viu, Sozinho? Eu vi, cara, eu escutei.
And then that something makes its presence known.
Por Deus do céu que mexeu.
Não, Der, acho que você tava vendo alguma coisa aqui.
Meu Deus do céu!
Filho da puta, cara, que é isso, cara?
When they dare to enter, things get more aggressive.
Meu Deus do céu, cara! Sai, sai, sai! Meu Deus do céu, tio!
O que bateu lá, cara? Jesus amado, bateu, cara.
What is inside? They think it's over, but the demon has one last scare in store for them.
Hã? Pare com isso, cara. Não guarda aqui. Caralho, mexeu a cadeira de novo. Escutou? Eu escutei. Escutou que meu Deus do céu. O cara arrastou essa cara. Vamos embora. Vamos embora, pelo amor de Deus. Pelo amor de Deus, eu vou rezar. Cara do céu, velho.
In my opinion, there's something truly evil in this house. You can just feel it. A YouTuber named Joseph Chansloam has been experiencing paranormal happenings around his house for quite some time now. Most of the activity happens around his bedroom, though no part of the house seems off limits. After giving a brief tour of his house, Joseph turns out most of the lights and goes to bed with the camera running. He wants to catch the ghost in action. It isn't long before everything he was afraid of starts to happen. Joseph wakes up and grabs the camera. He races around the house trying to find an intruder, but comes up with nothing. Let me know if you think this is real, and if not, how he did this all by himself. This video is simply called Path of the Banshee. A man is walking all by himself down a bleak path with rows of trees reaching out for him from both sides. He spots something in the distance and freezes. Some people claim that the scream is fake and edited in. Even so, plenty of people say that they can see a figure in white robes in the distance. Do you see anything like that when he zooms in? Also, if you can identify if that scream is from a video game or a movie or something, then please let me know. Maybe together we can prove if this video is fake or real once and for all. A YouTuber in Toronto called Nadell E claims to have heard scary sounds coming from the sky that many people have been calling sky trumpets. Tell me if you think these scary sounds from over the sky in Canada are real or fake. It's realistic how the sky sounds get louder after he opens the window, but that could be editing. Some people are saying that they've heard this same sky noise, while others are saying that this has to be fake and that they've heard the sound effect before, but don't say where they've heard it from. Likewise, Nadell E kind of says that this video is fake, but it might be sarcastic, like he's saying this event is real and one day you'll see. How do you interpret this comment? Here's the sky noise again. Tell me what this is and if you've heard it anywhere before.
I know. Look, that's actually so creepy, dude. There's a guy right there, and I'm kind of freaked out, not gonna lie.
Blake Gray fears he's captured, something that would terrify all of us behind the dumpster of an abandoned building while exploring. His brave friend slowly creeps up. So obviously this was a skit that was pre-planned, right? Wrong. Let's analyze what they were wearing on the day they captured this mysterious figure. Ripped jeans, skinny jeans, blue jean shorts. The mysterious stranger is wearing khakis. So yeah, this creepy event is scary and most importantly could be real. The person is still alive, but to what degree is unknown. A twitch of the leg could mean asleep or barely alive. If this is real, then I hope they notified the proper authorities to come make sure whoever this is still alive. This tape was found under a bridge somewhere in Russia. In it, a person is riding their bicycle while talking happily into the camera. If you speak Russian, please let me know what is being said here.
Всем привет. В общем, я сейчас нахожусь под...
Suddenly, their monologue is cut short by a shrill noise off camera.
Слышите? Ёпта.
It sounds like he is asking who is there, when suddenly the answer comes rushing up to him.
Кто это?
His screen becomes scrambled and the camera fades away. If this video is real, then I can't help but notice how the mutant shriek sounds almost human. I wonder how close this video was to the infamous site of the Chernobyl meltdown. Oftentimes we see movements out of the corner of our eye and we think we're imagining things. What if we aren't? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Kid Blast Double. This clip got Redditors up in arms. The video shows someone entering their backyard with their dog, but check out the fence beyond. A shadow figure can clearly be seen fleeting across the yard. It arrives behind the tree and doesn't move beyond. Apart from slightly peeking from around the tree, which can be seen on the close-up of the clip. The top comment was from Redditor Dads for Sons, who said he'd watched the clip on repeat 1,000,000 times, and his first reaction was, "Whoa, the slow-mo gives him the chills," he says. In response, Redditor Paul VS88 points out that the OP, Big Pappy Thunder, said, "Honestly didn't think anyone would get it, or that it would somehow get nearly 7,000 upvotes, but here we are. Figured I'd bamboozle maybe 5 people, then take it down for a laugh." Redditors with a sense of humor had a laugh about it. Tactius Kilgore writes, the shadow people have him and are in control of his Reddit account. There was one oddity in the video that was unedited, however, the thing peeking, but Thunder thinks that it was more likely a light from far away or from the yard behind than the shadow ghost that he'd edited into the footage. Still, this video will likely have you second guessing the next thing you see out of the corner of your eye. While investigating a local legend known as the woman in the abandoned house, KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas spoke to the spirit of the woman's father. Using an infrared camera, they see a strange figure. It doesn't appear in the regular camera footage though. While communicating through a spirit box, it sounds like the spirit is saying someone's name. Later, he speaks another name.
Hilda. Já falou certinho. Hilda.
Então você conhece a dona Hilda?
He then provides this cryptic message. It means this, here for her. The father then has a last message.
Tem diabo por tudo.
This translates to, there is a devil for everything. I'm not sure how to decipher these mysterious messages, but it does seem to me like this father should not be trusted. Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, that thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol. What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned, clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the Devil's Chair? I think he should leave before things escalate.
A YouTuber named Dave World catches what in his words is a ghost standing in the middle of the road motionless. Or it could be a kid standing in the road to be weird, as somebody else points out. I thought this video looked familiar, and then I remembered this strange roadside encounter that Chills covered a while back. This is what a YouTuber named Joe Rob TV saw 2 years prior. I don't know if they are the same person or not, but both are standing with their arms behind their back in the exact same way and have a bizarre long neck and big ears, so there's a strong chance. One video has short sleeves and the other has long sleeves. A ghost doesn't change clothes, so I don't think it's a ghost. I'll keep looking for videos of this strange highway humanoid, who I'm gonna call the Long Neck Man, and keep you updated. A girl stacks cups while her siblings watch. But apparently something else is watching too, as a little doll rises up for a closer look. The way it sits up looks like somebody has to be hiding behind the television, but it doesn't look like there's enough space for anybody to comfortably fit behind, not even a child. Maybe they ran something through the back of the cabinet to make the doll sit up. If that's not the case, then I think it's probably time to board up that room and sell the house.
If you've ever entered the grounds of an asylum at night, or any purportedly haunted territory, then you know what YouTubers, the proper people too, were feeling when they encountered this in the woods. Published in December of 2016, the footage shows the pair driving down a creepy dirt road surrounded by trees, with only their high beams to guide them. They're heading to an abandoned asylum to explore it at the scariest time of day. Once they get inside, it's clear that they weren't the first to explore this haunted place. There's tons of graffiti on the walls and remnants of past visitors. While they're exploring, one of the guys says he hears rustling. Then at one point when they film out the window, he claims to see someone standing in the trees. Although the person isn't clearly captured on camera, they decide to get a move on after that. But before they get in the car to leave, one of them sees a light. He calls out hello to no response. They agree it's too sketchy, being that whoever was out there wasn't responding.
There's no other car here.
He was on this side.
That was 100%.
That was a person. But he had a phone.
Why is there a person here?
The person could be laying in wait to rob them, so they jump in the vehicle to get the heck out of Dodge. Viewers gave their hot take on the video in the comments section. Viserys offered up some good advice, saying that if you're exploring a place like this and you discover that someone else is there, get out as soon as possible, making as little noise as possible. Have you ever gone on a real-life witch hunt? Way of Vlogs has, and he published his scary encounter in June of 2016 writing, "Finally found where the witch has been living." The YouTuber must have posted other videos of the witch prior to searching for her abode. In this footage, he claims that these stick crosses that he's come across in the woods indicate where the witch he encountered is living. He says there's logs in this wooded area and ceremonial things, although none of that is shown. Then he points out the strangest thing, a teepee made of sticks. As he's filming the teepee, something sets him on edge. He pans around and off to the left stands a woman with jet black hair dressed in white. She's unmoving, but her presence there is unnerving enough to make the YouTuber hightail it out of there. What would you do if you came across this lady in the forest at night? This pirate treasure was planted for YouTuber the Pucka Pucka's 6-year-old daughter. She was wanting some pocket money, so she reluctantly sent to clean out the old unused window box. Little did she know she would find a treasure map amongst the old brass, the YouTuber writes. The map leads to a secret room sealed upon her conception 7 years ago. While cleaning out the old window box, the young girl finds a load of old doorknobs and a secret map. The map shows that their house has a secret room. The father takes her into the hallway, tells her to place the map on the ground in the same orientation as the home, and asks her why they must go to find the secret room. They wind up in the girl's room. She says it would be weird if there was a hidden door in her own room. She starts pounding on the wall and notes that it sounds hard, not hollow. The father joins in and says it sounds hollow in one part of the wall. They decide to cut the wall, as there might be treasure and lots of money, like $150,000, so they could go to Disneyland. As the girl suggests, they cut open the wall and do in fact find the secret room. At first, the girl assumes there's nothing in it, but at the far end of the room, a small silver treasure chest sits. Inside are necklaces, jewelry, and doubloons. What a great way to send your child on an adventure. There seems to be many surprises for new renters or homeowners in these clips. YouTuber Dempsey7 also recently moved into this apartment. He said he rented the place without viewing it because it looked nice and the rent was low, but when he got there, he realized why it was so cheap. There are really high ceilings, like a 19th century monastery in the middle of England, he said. He then takes viewers on a tour through the apartment. There are mirrors all over. All of this is nothing compared to what he found just outside the bathroom. Carved into the floorboards, you can clearly see a hatch in the floor, kitted out with a handle. Dempsey7 says he figured it was a bit of underground storage. He lifts the lid up, and it does appear to be a storage space, that is until you look beyond the surface and see that the space expands below pretty deeply. Dempsey7 guides viewers down stone stairs that lead into what he calls a dungeon. There is a corridor heading off ahead, lots of stones and discarded brick and wiring. There is a room to the right, directly below Dempsey7's apartment. On the wall is graffiti that reads, CCFC OK, judging from the flooring. Dempsey7 believes it used to be a burial ground. He heads down the corridor. Most of the dungeon is piled with rubbish, dirt, and old brick. He finds a newspaper dating back to 1984. He finds what looks like an old front door. Did someone used to live here? Or perhaps the house was built over an older existing foundation? Whatever the case, a dungeon is one secret room I wouldn't want to find in my new home. Jinn are intelligent spirits from Arabian mythology that have the mysterious ability to possess humans. And according to this video, they take that mysterious ability to the next level, which is apparently ninja based. Published to YouTube by Deranged Sajib in September of 2020, this scary possession has this man's limbs into something like a crab.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. Kamu bukan Muslim ya?
The man is captured on video doing a creepy crab walk backwards and forwards across the floor as a holy man stands over him, attempting to exorcise him of the jinn. The man keeps low to the ground, smacking his palms to the floor with his fingers bent upwards. He speaks to the holy man in a haunting, possessed rasp.
Bisa kan? Kenapa? Saya berapa? Oh, 2 tahunan. Sebelum di sini di mana kamu aslinya?
Although the clip cuts out before we can see whether the man was freed of his possession, many in the comments note that the spirit who possessed him seemed like a ninja jinn.
Oh, berarti kalau kayak gitu kamu jahat. Kamu berurusan sama saya kamu jahat. Hah? Sekarang jadi urusan saya.
Well, I don't know about that. If it was the case though, the man is acquiring these skills, even if only via a spirit taking over his body. We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry. But what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. 30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't. A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She notes that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut. A TikToker named Kayla is posing in the mirror when she notices her Snapchat filter detecting a face in the corner of her room. She slowly zooms in to find Snapchat has successfully located a pair of eyes, a nose, and a mouth directly behind her. Even after the filter goes away, you can still see the imprint of a somber face in her bed sheets, neither smiling or frowning. I guess she could have carefully folded the face herself, testing each over and over again until Snapchat detected a face, or maybe it simply came to her like she says. Only Kayla knows for sure, and in my opinion, she looks just as surprised as the rest of us. This scary Reddit video was posted by a user named Naval Court, who says he caught a spirit giving his friend's child a hard time while it's trying to rest. First, the child stands up as if he sees somebody enter, or maybe he's even called over. He slowly looks up at something much taller than him, and as soon as he lays his eyes upon it, he falls with force. He sits off and shakes it off, and then something flies by overhead. He even looks over his shoulder and sees it. Some people think the kid is just acting silly, as children tend to do, and maybe even shaking his head to try and stay awake. But I agree with Naval Court that this is weird and could be a ghost like he thought. A YouTube channel called 3/Amir AMR searches for what his video title roughly translates into English as the most dangerous magician. Though its glowing eyes make it look less human and more like a jinn, the Arabic word for demons and spirits. The way the eyes come into focus at 1 minute and 4 seconds looks pretty good, but I think it might be special effects because the overall resolution seems to briefly drop. White and red eyes look at him from outside of a window, and there's a really good look at them here at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But these eyes look like they could be any of the city lights shown here when he goes outside. He does see the djinn standing outside of a window, eyes glowing white as ever. It disappears. Then he sees either the same creature or possibly another one in the building directly behind him. Now feeling surrounded, he turns and flees this entire area, but not before catching glowing eyes looking at him from the window within. In the winter of 2012, this YouTuber was almost a goner when a mother black bear decided to charge at him, not once but twice. Speed shooter XT was hunting in this Oregon forest when he encountered some bears nearby and began filming. The bear starts off by keeping her distance, but ultimately begins charging in his direction. The most scary part of this entire video is the look on the mama bear's face when she begins approaching, played in slow motion. The man managed to scare the bear away by being loud, and shortly after, she charges towards him again before the video ends. Luckily, this YouTuber got away safely, considering black bears can run up to 40 miles per hour. So if the bear did chase him, he wouldn't have standed a chance. A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Makanda, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. On the Chills Narrator subreddit, a user named Dope Island Skate continues to post all the weird things caught on camera while living in his haunted home. This time he's looking at his living room on CCTV video when creepy stuff starts happening once again on his home security system. A noise in the hallway makes him turn around. A weirdly shaped small figure is caught on camera, but he must not see it in real life because he doesn't say anything. There is no doubt that the light is moving by itself at 1 minute before he hits the light switch. He does a full 360 around it, not believing his eyes, and you can clearly see nothing is attached. Almost everyone who watched this video on the Chills subreddit thought it was creepy and real, and I don't really have a counter explanation as to how it could be faked. Nothing about this mysterious video is easy to explain, and that's why I think it might actually be real. Hopefully, Dope Island Skate continues to keep us updated, unless he decides to move out of his haunted house first, which I would completely understand. Amritesh Malan has caught what he calls a mysterious creature on camera in India. It looks like a regular person, but they think it's a humanoid creature with its upper torso twisted all the way around. It sits with its legs pointed away while simultaneously looking at them, and look at its weird, unnaturally long arm. I question if this video is real because at 14 seconds, the alleged creature kind of bumps into something and there's a cut in the video because he has to stop. This hunter captured the prey of his life while on an expedition. Published by Bigfoot's Testimony in January of 2022, the mysterious encounter occurred in a wooded area in Ohio. The footage shows a strange, grassy-looking creature creeping between the trees on a snowy fall day. The man says the creature's hair is gray or black.
His hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Is that snow?
Zooming in, the figure is barely discernible from its surroundings, like he's camouflaged. Most in the comments confirm that they've seen similar creatures in the forest. Tanner Urza writes, "These beings are very spiritual and in tune with nature." Others note that at some points it looks like a barely visible, partially invisible shadow. Is this the Grassman of Ohio, or do we have another legendary creature on our hands? Either way, I think I'll be staying clear of that forest.
There's someone down there! I'm literally shaking right now. I am on my own right now. Hello?
A YouTuber named Andrew Duffy has a paranormal problem in his basement that literally leaves him shaking with fear.
Is there someone in here? Make your presence known. Do something now.
He shakes throughout the entire 10 minutes and 43 seconds of this video without a break, which would take some talent to fake. Here's a good example. The UK explorer reaches the top floor of an abandoned house and finds himself standing outside of an old break room kitchen. He takes a single step inside and is met with the sound of old material crumbling beneath his feet.
Just going into one of the rooms that we found in a house that belonged to the factory. Nice kitchen in. I did in fact fall. Luckily I didn't go right through.
He falls up to his waist and puts his arms out at the last second to save himself, shutting off his camera in the process. A newly formed hole in the brittle floor shows a massive drop, ending in piles of sharp-edged debris. Even if he did survive the fall, no one was around to help 4 miles in all directions. Number 11, an Australian deep-sea fisher named Cavi brings aboard a sea creature he's never seen before. An unknown fish with a face too bizarre to put into words. It's bugging out as much as they are, eyes and tongue ready to burst. It's probably puffing up to scare them, and doesn't look like this all the time, or at least I hope not. Nobody has been able to figure this one out, so maybe you can explain to them what kind of fish this is. A YouTuber named Isaiah Fleming makes a YouTube video of himself cleaning his dirty room as motivation to actually get the job done and over with. During the course of this cleaning, the television turns on by itself, which I guess could be explained by accidentally stepping on the remote or something, and the door opens by itself, which is caught on 2 different angles and much harder to explain. The room is looking much cleaner after 2 hours, and he takes a break to go do something else. This next part almost has to be edited because it's literally impossible. Okay, so the door opens at 11:41 at night, and this time, without showing any breaks in the timestamp, a childhood stuffed bear disappears from view. Isaiah comes back to find the television changes to one of the cameras he has just set up in the other room. It looks like he is trying to use his remote control, but it's useless. Nothing is there then. With a flash of static, the bear is somehow sitting in the chair. He can't believe what he is witnessing at first, but as he looks to the floor, slowly realizing his house is haunted, he misses this eerie figure watching him through his own screen. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. This alleged deep web video shows a little girl encountering something paranormal in her haunted kitchen. Call it a ghost, a demon, or whatever you want. But watch how fast her feet slide away. I don't think she is doing this on her own. Something is pulling her. Sure, it's weird that she would just so happen to be filming herself when the scary moment happens, but some kids make videos of themselves for hours at a time, so I guess putting the camera down to grab something from the fridge for a second wouldn't be that out of the question. And that's when an angry ghost decides to grab the little girl by the arm and go down the hallway. In 2014, a YouTuber was finishing up a hiking trail in Fernie, British Columbia, when an unwanted intruder decided to make him its intended prey.
That is a mountain lion, and he's stalking me.
A wild mountain lion emerges from the tall brush with its head low to the ground, ready to pounce. The man instinctively turns and runs, but then he regains his wits and stops to confront his aggressor.
I am much bigger than you. I'm way bigger than you.
The young mountain lion seems surprised at this bold reaction, but then it quickly blends into its surroundings again and regains the upper hand. Eventually, it's spotted again a few more times as it prowls along the trail close by. The two eventually end up staring at each other from a short distance. As the showdown comes to a tense close, the mountain lion seems unsure and eventually wanders off. It may have lost for now, but in another year or two, I'm sure the animal would have undoubtedly grown into a much larger threat. Downright Dives is a three-man team of dumpster divers who go through the trash looking for discarded valuables. They comb through a series of dumpsters without incident, mostly coming across old rotten food. They're searching through the last couple of dumpsters when one of them makes a startling discovery.
No. Moved in there, guys. Guys. Moved in there. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking.
Neither of his two friends believe that there could have been somebody lying at the bottom of the dumpster. They just have to take a closer look for themselves.
That box right there just moved. I'm not even joking. That one. Oh, no. Go.
The camera doesn't get a clean shot, but you can hear a man pop up from underneath the boxes and screams that he owns everything inside of the dumpster. According to the description, it was a homeless man who continued to come after them and even got into a physical altercation off camera. I'm on the fence with this one since we never get a chance to see the homeless person in question. Also, living in a dumpster is a stereotype about homeless people that is rarely true, so this encounter is very unlikely. Let me know if you agree. When your child is communicating with ghosts, you should listen. Posted to TikTok by PG Stories, this toddler seems to be communicating with the other side. The boy says goodnight to someone in the bathroom. When his mom goes to check it out, there's no one there.
Who are you saying goodnight to?
Him.
Who?
Him. Good night.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
He's up there.
Show me.
He's up there.
He seems to be pointing to the vent. Is someone hiding up there? Is there a phantom in the vent? Or is it just the kid's wild imagination? I feel like this video left us with more questions than answers. This demonic place will spit you back out again. Published by Toppy in February of 2022, a paranormal team encountered real demons in this creepy place. They soon hear sounds in the abandoned building and capture voices as they continue their search. Everything is falling apart and is probably unsafe. As they look down an endless dark hallway, they hear what they think is water running.
Что это?
And then this scares them to attention. There's undoubtedly something in here. The question is it human? They won't be able to see it with their light off. When your recording equipment starts going haywire, that's a clear sign that the spirits don't want you here after all. Where's the spirit hiding? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Leonardo da Fuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق هذا كيف
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open. But there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again.
هذا حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real or just all camera angles? Redditor Navin Person has another theory. They wrote, it's just the house settling. I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. Worst nightmare is to be buried alive. This stunt will have you panicking, just like Ryan. Published in May of 2021, Ryan Prunty's stunt saw him buried alive for 51 hours in an attempt to try and break Mr. Beast's world record. Well, in his buried box, Ryan starts panicking and screams the safe word. The team begins the task of unburying his coffin.
He called pineapple. Okay.
Which is filled with water and garbage. They aren't moving fast enough for Ryan's taste, and the screws keep getting stripped.
Stripped, we're getting the saw. Yeah, actually. Yeah, Carter stripped both of them. Look. What do you mean, look? I'm in a box!
Finally, they manage to pull off the lid, and Ryan is freed, and I'm sure he was never happier to see the light of day again.
Oh my. Holy moly. You alright, buddy? Man, dude, you make a mess. We leave you down here for 25 hours and you leave it looking like this?
What if you walked into a grocery store and the man across the aisle did this? Published to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Calligram, this video will make you cringe and then maybe throw up a little in your mouth. This is not an illusion. The man in this video, Alexander, is a Russian gymnast who can turn his head 180 degrees. During gymnastics, he discovered that his body was incredibly flexible, particularly his vertebrae. He wanted to test how far this flexibility could go, so he decided to push himself. Alexander explains, I worked on this step by step, going a little further each time, and one day I was able to turn my head all the way around. When I do, it takes energy from my whole body. The complete 180 is like a horror movie. It only took some practice for the gymnast to twist his head around like an owl, but that's not true for just anyone. Alexander's doctor suggests the next swiveling ability is not an act that you can train for. He thinks the trait is congenital. The doctor recommends not to try this at home. For Alexander, though the party trick takes complete concentration to pull off, the act fills his body with a strange energy, and he doesn't feel like himself in the moment. Still, he calls it absolutely normal, and says the twisty neck doesn't hurt one bit. Funny, it hurts me just to see it. Way of Vlogs is a YouTuber with a hidden talent that he's only recently begun to share with the world, a skill that he says only takes patience and practice to master. With a burst of mental energy, he can make a can roll towards him. Or maybe he pushed the table to make the can roll forward and yelled to cover up the noise.
No strings whatsoever. As you can tell, see? Nothing attached to it. No magnets inside. So you can see I'm shaking it around, no magnets.
I personally think it might have been the latter, but watch again and tell me what you see. Next, he makes the object fall over without touching it. There could be a fishing wire in his hand, but if so, it should show up easily against his black clothes, and it does not, at least not as far as I can tell. He definitely doesn't push on the table this time either. Still, if he could have made the object fall the other way, then it would show he was not using a fishing wire once and for all. I don't know about you, but at this point I'm still uncertain. So I guess people must have been saying he was using a string, because in the next video he holds his hands out to show he is not using one at all. However, as one commenter pointed out, he could have a string wrapped around his toe or something. It does kind of look like he might be moving his foot, but it's hard to say. But when he shows the cup without any hesitation, it makes what he says seem kind of legit.
No, just to make sure that there isn't any strings or anything involved, look. I'll use my shirt.
I don't really analyze many videos like this because I don't necessarily believe in them, but vlogs like this are enough to make me wonder. Give me your thoughts about this subject and tell me if you think this is fake or if he's able to somehow move objects through sheer will. When Hurricane Sandy rolled into town, most fled, but one live streamer did not. Published in November of 2014, he writes, "During Hurricane Sandy, someone decided that it was a great idea to film the entire event regardless of the risk. I recorded the stream on an old laptop and forgot about it. Found the footage today and decided to share it. Hurricane Sandy was dubbed the most destructive hurricane of the 2012 Atlantic hurricane season, having taken the lives of 285 people. It's plain to see why. As this footage shows, this storm slowly got more and more severe." Number 4. Dread. YouTuber Christian Ronansky published this found footage in December of 2015 with the following description. "These are movies that we found in 10 rather large boxes at an estate sale for $5 a box, being held in a barn about 15 miles west of Austin, Texas," Christian claims. According to Christian, those running the estate sale were unaware what the videos were, or that they were even there, and priced them then and there. With formats ranging from Betamax to 35mm stock reels, Christian notes that the same people pop up in all the films, many of which are too damaged to clean up. Christian promised to upload more tapes as they were repaired, but wanted to know what the wider YouTube audience thought of this one. The footage is vaguely disturbing. First, a shadowy figure is seen passing in the light with some sort of symbol on the wall behind it, while a powerfully disturbing sound plays. Then another figure is hidden behind curtains while a children's song is heard. An old clawed hand creeps its way around the curtain. A scene later, and you're in the woods, while another dark figure dons a mask. And next you're seeing a load of medical contraptions, a sink drain, and the lower half of a face up close, while warp sounds tear your eardrums in half. Then another figure with a large nose, first standing still then moving slowly across a room, then a young girl spinning and playing in a field, and lastly an eye up close looking all around. What does this lost tape mean? Do you think it was actually discovered in an estate sale? If so, there's certainly more to this story than we know as of now. A tech-savvy phantom is entering the chat. YouTuber Amitav Paranormal Tech YT went live on his YouTube channel, and his REM pod activated. So he set up a security camera in the room at night. This is what happened. An invisible entity enters. And not long after this happens, a light turns on and off. This footage is creepy for sure, but is it paranormal? Or can it be explained? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Amitav captures next. The last thing you'd want for your Burger King chicken nuggets is a ghost playing with them, but we don't always get what we want. YouTuber Karaoke Batman shares this security footage of a supposed phantom playing around in this Burger King kitchen. Watch behind the worker.
Oh my god, like...
Something threw a basket of chicken nuggets from the counter behind him. Watch again closely.
Oh my god, like...
Since we can't see where the basket of nuggets fell from, I don't know if it simply toppled over or if some mysterious being threw it. I think we'd need further evidence of ghostly activity to draw any sort of conclusion on this one. Is there a ghost at this military base? Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Multi-Frapser. This creepy sound clip was captured in a base for the Finnish Defense Forces. The Redditor explains that the video was cut out of the clip for security reasons, but that it was recorded near a public road at around 10:30 p.m. in January of 2020. Though it's short, he said the sound continued for 45 minutes until 11:15 p.m. The Redditor writes, "During the time I captured this clip, I'd kept watch at one of the checkpoints that led to the military base or garrison." He explains that the noise started to get quieter little by little until it vanished. Another military personnel had heard the same noises the night before around midnight. He also describes the base's surroundings. There is a town about 1.5 kilometers away that turns into a veritable ghost town around this time. There are also a central fire station and rural industries nearby, as well as a railroad track, but only one rail line is scheduled to pass there at a specific time and doesn't make this noise. On the opposite side of the base is a small bay with only motor and sailboats that don't usually operate at this time of day or year. Across from the base is a water tower made of concrete, which is where he thinks the noise may be coming from, though he had never heard this sound before. He describes the surroundings that night as not windy. There are many different theories in the comments as to the source of this noise, with some suggesting it could be the mysterious sky trumpets that have been captured all over the world. Others suggest coronal mass ejections in the ionosphere, which have to do with the aurora borealis. It could also be singing ice, which is a sound effect that happens when frozen soil or rock cracks after water seeps in and freezes. Some also think the rhythmic oscillation sounds mechanical or like breathing, but Redditor Paul JS75 believes that the Redditor might be on the right track with the water tower theory writing. Keep in mind, when draining or filling the thing, there also has to be a way for air to get in or out. A lot of air rushing through a passage is going to make noise. What do you think this is? Do you have any other theories? I think no matter what the cause is, this would be terrifying to hear outside at night while being alone. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary306. This short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? Inside a creepy cupboard full of antique dolls and antiquated photographs lies a poltergeist. Don't let him out. Published by The Haunted One. The uploader shows us that the cupboard sticks and is difficult to open. The cupboard houses a skull, some baby shoes, an eyeless porcelain doll, and a number of black and white photographs. Footage of the room in the darkness shows the cabinet bursting open on its own. Or did one of these haunted dolls try to get out? They're obviously here to possess you.
That's pretty strong because it's not that easy to open. And what's in here are some old photos that I've acquired.
Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Havoc Nova, this Redditor wrote, Walked into my office to start my workday and found this, and I can see exactly what he's talking about. Something is up with that cool Scarface poster. It's like an invisible hand is rocking the poster back and forth. Even when the Redditor tries to steady the poster, it continues to move. While some people like myself are first jumping to this office being haunted, not everyone is convinced. Laundry Ghosty wrote in the comments, "You need insulation in your walls." There's a small hole allowing a breezeway from the exterior wall to form. This phenomenon happened in our current house. It turned out it's because the insulation that was blown into the walls 30 years ago needed repairs and replacing. So what do you think? Is this office actually haunted? Or are these walls just in need of some more insulation?
Who's doing this?
Some ghosts just want a little attention. This one apparently isn't getting enough. Published by Jeff Miller in April of 2018. Watch closely as this ghost takes his revenge in this family's kitchen. Something flies off the wall shortly into the video that the uploader says is a picture. Having heard the disturbance, the home's resident enters the frame, heading into the kitchen. Did he come face to face with his ghost roommate? Unlikely, but maybe he should take the hint. The roommate wants the house to himself. It's midnight. Everyone's asleep except for this ghost. Published by The Haunted One in August of 2020. This short clip shows a thirsty ghost having a nightcap. Watch closely as the bottle on the counter moves ever so slightly on its own. It slides from the middle of the island to the very edge. Is this ghost about to smash some glass, or is he just playing mind games? Either way, I definitely think this place is haunted. Published by Tim Morozov in December of 2021, the paranormal investigator enters the most haunted of houses and encounters one of the most dangerous level 5 poltergeists he's ever faced off with. In the video, Tim draws a circle in chalk on the floor in the living room. Cameras are set up all around. He asks the spirits in the home to move things. After a time, something triggers one of his paranormal devices. The thermal imaging camera shows a great white orb floating in the vicinity. The orb passes by him where it hovers over the Ouija board. The planchette starts to spaz out all over the board. It doesn't seem to be spelling anything, it's just going berserk. The light then floats out of frame. After this, several items in the room float into the air. The light reappears and then seems to brush past Tim, knocking him to the floor. It comes back and knocks him again. Is this the most aggressive poltergeist you've ever seen? Tim left with his life this time, but next time he might not be so lucky. Some souls darken the doorways of haunted homes. Others grow as bright as they lived. Published by Sajid Hussein in August of 2021. This Nest cam caught an unusual anomaly on this dark street at night. The video shows a vibrant figure glowing in the yard opposite the camera. The bright figure appears to be moving. It radiates well still for a moment before moving in a flash to a position about a foot away. The light then dims before glowing brightly again. It then enters into the street glowing and spreading like fire. Throughout this, at times it looks like one entity and at other times two. At the end of the clip, the light subsides and disappears altogether. Where did the spirit go? Maybe this is the moment it crossed over. This eerie video has me doing a double take. Published by Spot You Like in April of 2008. This scary clip is filmed outside the stunning New York Minster. The bells are ringing and the cameraman is taking it all in. He scans the cathedral and then starts walking toward it. A shot later, he is continuing on his way down a narrow shop lane. While the bells continue to sound, shops line either side of the street. But watch what happens in the upper window to the left. The cameraman zooms in on the ghostly pale face of a small child looking out the window. The child's eyes are dark and inky, and its face mask-like. As the camera zooms, the child disappears. The uploader notes that the house is called the Belfry and was built in the 17th century. Some in the comments claim to have stayed there and say that it has seriously spooky vibes. Is this the thing putting out those vibes? I'd say it's a pretty good chance. If you're feeling a presence in your basement, there's probably a reason. Published to YouTube in October of 2019, the uploader explains that this was the first footage she captured of a ghost on her laptop with Xbox One Kinect. She says other paranormal things occurred along with the Kinect footage, including her laptop's battery running out of juice quickly, and a plastic Walmart bag moving of its own accord, despite no draft being present. As the uploader demonstrates the Kinect's capabilities, it shows only her limb movement for a while. When she brings a doll lacking a head and places it on a rocking chair, something appears to be hovering by a bookshelf in the background, something with lime green energy. It remains there for a long while, but when the woman places the baby head on the door, a new Kinect figure appears right next to the rocker, or perhaps the same figure has moved. This time its energy appears aqua. It remains there active for a very long time and then disappears at one point. When the woman walks past it to sit down on the couch, it doesn't again reappear. It's either about time to move or to throw out that doll, or both. What is haunting this forest? Published by Scary Videos in February of 2022. A car is driving across a deserted road at night when the driver spots this. The semi-transparent figure of a young girl in a white dress with long black hair floats past for a moment before zapping into oblivion.
Stop.
The driver and his passengers stop to get out and have a look, but they find nothing. Was this a true phantom caught on camera? And why is she walking this lonely road? We may never know. Visit Louisiana and you might just run into a gator or two, or maybe 1,000. Published in January of 2011, Marvin Carter writes, "This is something you just don't see every day." Carter says this video was sent to him from the mouth of the Mississippi by one of his friends. What you're about to see will make your skin crawl. At first, the river looks normal with dozens of rocks jutting out of it, but when the camera zooms in, you realize those aren't rocks. Then, even more horrifyingly, this little speedboat starts its journey through the sea of alligators. They're all moving about, but the good news is, it looks like they're just trying to get out of the way, not start trouble. While many in the comments agree that this is terrifying, most also suggest that gators generally don't mess with you. Still, this scary video desperately needs an explanation, and commenter Canoeing the Edge of the World seems to have one. He writes, "For some reason, alligators just decide every once in a while to have a little get-together, and they bring the whole family. I think I'll skip this reunion." This PlayStation 4 keeps restarting all by itself and makes a creepy noise at the end of the video that it didn't make at all before. I know a lot of you already know what a PS4 turning on sounds like. I just thought it was weird because mine has never made that noise, but maybe yours has. I see this is a special edition console, so maybe that's why. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. Do you have the common care to tame a snake? This shocking footage will make you question your own bravery. The video shows a man grabbing a thick snake with his bare hands. The snake looks around 10 feet long and arches toward the man when he pulls back. As the snake appears to be aggressive, the man holds up one arm. He is apparently trying to grab a hold of the snake close to its head, which he manages to do upon his second attempt. He takes the snake with both hands in a tight grip as it opens its mouth wide, baring its fangs. Then, as if with no care in the world, the man walks the snake over to some other workers, who pick up its tail and are taking photos with the beast. The footage ends there, but judging by this man's professionalism, I think we can safely guess the snake was properly removed to a more secure location. Bonding with nature takes on a whole new meaning when creepy stuff like this happens.
It's extremely rare to see a bat anywhere. Oh, God.
No, just grab it.
It's eating the
A midday hike turns terrifying when a bat snuggles up in Mom's hair. Anderton Explorer caught the entire creature sighting on camera. Now they have to figure out how to get it untangled. Snapping their fingers to scare it off is a good idea, but the bat doesn't seem to care much. It spreads its wings, turns around, and marches towards her face. The mom is getting really scared, and who wouldn't be when a bat is about ready to crawl up next to your ear? They have to save her. Would you be brave enough to do the same?
Will you hold still? God.
The bat is off of her, but it stays near all their possessions. It's dazed, not moving at all, and then suddenly it flies up in her daughter's face and almost gets in her hair next. Something almost has to be wrong with it. This isn't normal behavior at all. Think about it. A nocturnal creature sighting in broad daylight is a bad sign. An animal that is normally afraid of humans landing directly on one is even worse. The bat might have had rabies. If so, it was probably trying to get at her, but couldn't find its way through her hair. So with that in mind, this video becomes even scarier when you realize it could have been unknowingly poking for nearly 3 minutes straight at a bat that could potentially have rabies. The whole family was treating it like a joke, when in reality they could have gotten a serious case. In their defense, they do say in the comments that they saw the bat fly back into its cave, though how exactly that makes it any less likely to have rabies or not is something I don't understand. Most of us have watched videos that return to us in our sleep. Imagine a robot child with deadened eyes. Would you want to be greeted with such a smile? TechCrunch calls Affetto the wild boy head robot of your nightmares. A comment on this video clip by YouTube user Ragnarok AT confirms that. Thank you for bringing my absolute scariest nightmare to life. I won't be sleeping for the next few days. Once this robot grins at you, you probably won't either. The idea was to give the robot human-like emotions, and that's what these researchers did, but for some reason the result is so uncanny it gives you the chills. A video of the Affetto prototype was first posted in 2011. Back then it was even scarier than today's version. Researchers have since added facial skin and hair, but that doesn't seem to remove the deadness from the robot's eyes. In fact, it likely makes the cyberhuman seem even more bizarre. Apart from the creepiness of the robot's facial expressions, blades and spikes jut out of its body, as though it's a machine meant to destroy you. The three researchers wrote of their continued progress with the robot, citing new methods to create more expressivity in the second-generation model of Affetto. These findings, the researchers claim, will allow for deeper interactions with humans due to the broader range of robot emotions. While all of this is very technical, viewing the video clip will inspire an entirely visceral emotional reaction. And believe me, the movements of this robot child will not leave your nightmares soon. A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face. Then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it. And then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. Dominic Marquez of Albuquerque, New Mexico, says you're definitely going to believe his ghost sighting caught on CCTV video is real when you see it. Somebody is walking down the street when all of a sudden, they're simply not.
There he is.
Ghost.
It's real, dog.
The person morphs into a floating orb and briefly becomes human again, before going back into its second form. And to top off an already bizarre video, this creepy thing happens next.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's nobody there. What
The neighbor's rather bright motion detector lights turn on when the ghost walks by. Nothing's there. If it was a CCTV glitch on Dominic's camera, then why would motion lights go on across the street? It looks like he was right about me believing this paranormal video is real. There's a road in Quarten, Switzerland that defies all explanation according to some, and a lot of people have been nervously checking it out. Here's the deal. If you go to this stretch of mountainous highway on Google Maps, it looks pretty normal at first, but don't look up unless you want a scare. This is when the scenery goes from pleasant to mysterious. That's because peeking out from the sky is what appears to be a strange pink-red monument, or else some kind of giant being with its arm held out. You can click up and down any part of this road and still look up to find whatever this strange anomaly is gazing down from above. Some people say this sky sighting is a creature, but I have a much more rational and less exciting explanation. I'm pretty sure this is part of the pole on top of the car that the camera is attached to. Normally, this part of the car is edited out, but I guess some kind of glitch in their algorithm let a piece of it show. As a result, it looks like something suspended high above. That's my theory, at least. Let me know if you agree, or if you think this really was some kind of strange sighting in the sky. It's midnight when Sylvia Slarb gets an iPhone notification that someone is at her door. She looks out the window and doesn't see anything, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning, she remembers the incident and quickly checks her phone. This weird shining orb is what her doorbell cam automatically recorded on that night. I have no logical explanation for this aside from a possible insect, but as far as I know, a bug this small and this far away should not be able to trip the sensor. Therefore, I cannot exclude the paranormal as well. A group of people in Michigan are having a casual conversation outside when something unexplainable suddenly interrupts them. The cameraman immediately zooms in on the strange intrusion. This is the Paulding light, an intensely burning white-hot shimmer that has no explainable source. As the people in this video are talking about what it could be, two more lights suddenly appear. The lights fade in and out as they move rapidly across the skyline. Sometimes it's just the red lights, and sometimes the single white light grows extremely large. The objects are moving extremely fast and even seem to be traveling towards them. Still, the group thinks that they are far enough away to be safe, and plus, they are right by their cars in case things get too crazy, so they keep filming. One person in the group is sure that they are watching the headlights of a car, but no one else buys this explanation because of the erratic way the lights are moving. Now, I'm not saying that it definitely is or isn't a car, but the point is nobody knows for sure what the Paulding light is or how it came to be. With that said, there are some local legends. Some say it's the lantern of a passed away railroad worker who was crushed on the tracks, while others say it's the Grim Reaper himself. I'm curious to read what you think it is after seeing this video. If you are a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door. Having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please, God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway. While well water floods the floor, a human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no. No. Oh,
Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
Oh. What? What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really? What's that? Shh. Somebody just shushed us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.